Bienvenidos a los Amigos Flyways podcast. I am your host, Joey Basayo. A mi derecho, I have a cow nest, a Quabby cow nest, because Quabby Carter is...
I have taken his place.
You have taken his place, yes.
All right, I can be a little more crabby. Hey, what's up?
No, just act normal. So, and then we also have Hunter Kisner in the studio with us here. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
What's up, man? How you been?
Been good. Just trying to survive this cold.
Yeah, have you been, are you still guiding or are you done now?
Pretty much done. Some of the other guys that I work with, they're still running down in Arkansas, getting after it, rolling around in the mud a little bit, playing in that whole deal. But, yeah, just kind of laying low right now. I just got back from Wyoming. I was out there chasing some geese around. But
how was that?
It was good. It was my first time ever out there. I wrangled up one guy that's just as dumb as I am and likes to kill honkers. So we had never been out there, didn't know a single person, just went out there and bummed around for a few days, and it was good.
Are you where you want to be at in life?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, it's bad.
I've asked myself that many times. What has led me to
where you are now?
Laying in a layout blind in the
Well,
pouring
that's
rain.
probably a good place to start. Before we do, this podcast is brought to you by Ducks Unlimited. And everybody, if you don't have a Ducks Unlimited membership, what are you doing? It's $35 a year. Supports conservation, so go to ducks.org, get your membership today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you did end up here, who you work for, all that stuff.
Who you are.
Yeah, tell us about you.
Well, I was born and raised in Monticello, Minnesota, a small town in Wright County.
Beautiful town.
Yeah, beautiful town. Blink and you'll miss it.
No, it's big now, dude.
Yeah, it's like...
You'd have to keep your eyes closed for a while to miss it.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't that way when I grew up, but it's getting much, much bigger. But yeah, grew up there, graduated high school there, moved to college in Fargo, so took courses at NDSU and Morehead State, and then moved out to Bismarck, North Dakota. Been out there ever since, and then along the way picked up a guiding gig working for Dirty Bird Outfitters out there. Matt Peel, he's the owner out there, so yeah.
So, dude, what'd you get your degree in? Did you get a degree?
Yeah, I did get a degree. I made it to the finish line. Yep.
And your degree is in
education.
So you're a teacher.
I was a teacher. Yes.
You were a teacher.
I was.
Wow, man.
Teacher of what?
Social studies.
High school social studies.
High school social studies.
Wow.
Nice. What was your favorite time period of history that you learned in? I was a huge history buff.
World War II.
Yeah.
Like mid 1900s. Like 1940 to 1920 to 1960.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was a big Civil War.
Sure.
Loved the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so
the Civil War got me.
Right before the Civil War up until like 1905.
Mm-hmm.
That was super interesting to me.
Yeah, the interesting part to me about like that World War II era is that, well, a lot of them are gone now, but like that there were people walking around that you could meet that had lived those experiences. You know, they had been around for...
Feels like a super long time ago.
Yes,
it really
wasn't that long ago when you look at it, so...
Yeah, I mean, when you were going to school, I mean, they would have been like, these people are like 80?
80.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of nuts, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
To think that insane to think that was...
In our lifetime.
Like 60 years ago was a world war.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty insane.
It is insane.
I will tell you, though, some days it feels like we're closer to it than we've ever been again.
Right. I don't know what it is about my brain, but whenever people are like, civil rights movement, 1960s, right? I'm like, oh, it was 40 years ago. No, dude. That was freaking 60 years ago. 60 plus.
Yeah.
Crazy how recent it was.
But it's like 2000s, right? That's where my mind always goes. Oh, the 70s was 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. No, it was 50 years ago.
Just in the sense that you can't believe it's 2025.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
well,
nuts.
I just saw a sign the other day. We were out grabbing drinks, and it said, like, you must be born before this date, 2004.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
like,
insane.
And I'm like, oh, my gosh, kids that are born in 2004 are 21 years old.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel old as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like when 9/11 happened.
Right.
I was in a classroom, and people are alive now that didn't even know it existed, which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a dude going around on the street, and he's like, where were you on 9/11? They're like, what's that? They're like, September 11th, 2001. They're like, I was born in 2008. I'm like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know what happened on 9/11. I'm like, holy shit, that was not that long ago, dude.
Like, kids born in 2008 are graduating this year.
Yes.
Correct? Because they'd be 17 or 18.
Yeah. Yep.
That's insane.
Not okay.
That is insane.
That is fucked up, dude. Holy
So we're old.
shit. We're so old.
Yeah.
Yep. And those
Ord.
are an ord. I'm so ord. Have you seen that Snapchat filter where it turns you into an old Asian man?
Yeah.
Oh my god! And so
Ord.
we were having some fun with it.
A little too much.
Some
Yeah.
of those Snapchat filters are just absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Though.
Don't let your kids get a hold of them either. Oh, Aziza loves them.
They've just got your kid programmed into AI forever now.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. We know what she's gonna look like in 2055.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ord.
So ord.
It's fucking awesome. Anyway, sorry. So, Hunter, how does one go from being a very respected, credible part of society, a teacher,
Right.
and
Become a
go
degenerate
and become a
waterfowl guide?
degenerate waterfowl guide? Yeah.
Honestly, it's really crazy. So in college, I mean, I was going broke trying to finish my classes and also hunt as much as humanly possible while surviving.
Yeah.
So I was doing that. I would stack my schedule. I'd take like 24 credits in the spring. And
Okay.
then, so, because there's no hunting. Well, there
Yeah.
is, snow goose season, but whatever.
Well, fuck 'em.
Yeah, exactly. So I would stack my schedule super heavy in the spring, and then I would make it so I would only have like afternoon and evening classes in the fall. So I would take like 16 credits in the fall, so it was really light, and I could stack them into like 2-3 days, so I could hunt 3-4 days
Yeah.
a week. Get out scouting, trying to hunt, like I said, as much as possible. And in the process of doing that, I met these guys at Dirty Bird because I did a fair amount of hunting in the same area that they guided.
So you're just getting permission
Just getting permission.
for you to hunt.
Just for me and
Yeah,
some
buddies.
buddies to hunt. Yep, exactly. And ended up running into some of these guys, got kind of acquainted with them. Kelvin, one of my good buddies, he was one of the first people that I met out there. And then through him, met Matt, who's the owner of Dirty Bird.
Yeah.
And started kind of helping him out a little bit, like on the side, just kind of like a side hustle. Went and got my guide license and all that stuff. And then once I got done with college, it kind of turned into a little bit more of a full-time deal once I knew that the teaching avenue wasn't going to be it. And that was 4.5 years ago. And then, in that process too, since I wasn't really doing anything after hunting season ended, once I wasn't teaching, I was like, well, if I want to do this full time, I need to find another gig or a way to extend my season.
Yeah.
So I started working for Graham
Yep.
with Maxed Out, who I know
Yep.
we've had on here before.
Yeah.
So I got linked up with all them guys, and then I worked down there for 2.5 seasons down there with Marcus and Michael and all them guys. And now we're here. Been doing it, for the last few years. And
Yeah, and I know you're guiding your own walleye trips and stuff too, a bunch of fishing stuff in the summer.
Yeah, and then in the summertime, that's what I do, because obviously there's no real duck or goose seasons going on in May, June, July.
Yeah.
And living out in North Dakota, we have really, really good walleye fishing out there. So I start up usually like late April, early May on the Missouri River right near Bismarck, and then I go up to Lake Sakakawea for a chunk of the summer, and then as things kind of warm up, Devil's Lake really starts to kick off, so I kind of go over there for mid-July through August.
Yeah.
And then September we start kind of rolling and getting things back into gear for duck season in North Dakota again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you got the full thing. You got the whole year kind of plotted out to be a guide.
Yeah.
Would you say you make more money as a guide than you would have as a teacher?
100%. 100%.
Isn't that insane, dude?
Given I do work 250 or 275 days out of the year guiding.
Right.
So, and every weekend, but
What do you do the other 115 days of the year? Not
really
shit.
nothing. Yeah, nothing.
Just
I mean,
kicking.
like right now, like I said, there's some of the guys that are down in Arkansas, but I mean, I left Bismarck the other day and it was like 28 below zero when I left. I mean, I like ice fishing, but not that much. I mean, that's just stupid.
So cold.
My thing with ice fishing is if I'm going to do it, I have to get blackout drunk.
Correct. Yeah.
And I don't want to get blackout drunk anymore because I'm almost 32.
Yeah.
And
It's
it
not.
hurts my soul.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not as fun as it used to be. Well, it's still as fun. The next day is not near as fun.
Right. Well, and you're in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Where there's really good fishing. We're in the metro.
Yeah.
Not very good fishing.
That is true.
Not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
So it's like you're going out there purely to drink. And it's like, dude, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
What am I doing out here?
The last few times that I've ice fished around here, I don't know that I've actually punched a hole. I don't know that we pulled the hole covers off the ice castle. I mean, we showed up and
You're just drinking on
just
the ice.
drinking on the ice. I mean, come on.
Yeah, dude,
For
no doubt.
For what, an 8.5 inch crappie? Like, I just don't care that much.
Oh no, that's sick, dude.
Yeah.
You should
It's a
fillet that.
slab, bro.
Yeah.
You should fillet that. What did you see the thing that Minnesota's doing? They're trying to ban live scopes.
I did.
What do you think about that?
I think that it's a very slippery slope to start picking and choosing what technology we're going to allow or not allow. I mean, at the end of the day, the limits are there for a reason.
Right. But I was told by someone that they're assuming that most people are not going to get their limit every day, and that's how they pick the limits. And I'm like, well, that's
sure
kind of dumb. I feel like you need a lot more years of studies to see how many people, like, do a hip survey of fish.
Right.
You're
like,
telling me that they say that they think.
They assume that people are not going to
So
catch
if they
their
set
limit.
the limit at 8, you're only going to actually catch like 5 or 6.
3 or 4. Half.
Yeah.
They assume that most people are going to catch half their limit.
I would say that's realistic, especially in Minnesota.
Right.
The fish here act a lot differently than they do in North Dakota. Like the fish, a lot of them that I'm going after, I use live scope, by the way.
I hope so.
Just so you know.
Yeah,
Kind of a
just
big
so
deal.
you
Cheater.
know.
Yeah, cheater.
Yeah.
If you ain't scoping, you're hoping. No, but the fish in North Dakota, they act a lot different than they do in Minnesota.
How so?
So my folks, they have a place on Ottertail Lake by
Yeah.
Fergus Falls.
Yeah.
Very deep, very clear lake. Tons and tons and tons of walleyes in it. There are schools of walleyes out there that are 200 to 300, and you can see them off like some of the deeper points and stuff. And you can cast to them for 2 hours, and you might get little windows where you get like 2 or 3 to bite. You'll get lots of them to chase it, but getting them to bite is a totally different thing.
Really?
In North Dakota, on Devil's Lake, there's been spots that I'll pull up on. There'll be 15 fish on live scope. I'll catch 14 of them. They're much more receptive to a bait. And I don't know if it's because the water's dirtier or if they get fished less or if they're just dumber.
That's crazy.
But it is different. It's much, much, much different. And in North Dakota, you can throw like almost anything at them and they bite.
Yeah.
In Minnesota,
They're very
More
picky.
pressure, do you think?
I think that's a big part of it, and much more clear water. Like,
Well, Ottertail County in general is, like, you can see like 30, 40 feet down.
you can.
It's crazy.
So
Like in the summertime, I've
yeah.
fished Ottertail quite a bit, or like Battle Lake to
Yep.
West Battle,
Yep.
and it's insane how deep you can see.
Oh,
It's like
yeah,
easily 30 feet.
on a glass calm sunny day, you can see the walleyes on the bottom in 20 feet of water. Like
Have you ever been up there, Cal?
You can.
I've never been on that lake
It's
at all.
insane. It's so cool.
Yeah, there's tons and tons of walleyes.
But they have a bunch of zebra mussels.
They're bad.
Bad.
Oh,
Yep.
really?
So they filter out the water. That's why it's so clean, because of the zebra mussels. So the DNR says.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It never used to be that clear. So
Right.
the zebra mussels, they do have a big effect. Like we used to fish a lot in like 5 to 8 feet out there. You can still catch fish there when the wind blows. But like on a calm day, you got to get out into like that 15 to 20 feet. And the weed lines now are deeper because the water's so clear that the weeds don't grow as shallow as they used to.
It's like
Yeah.
a wasteland at
Yep.
like 10 feet
Just
deep.
big,
Like the
big
sandbars.
sand- yeah.
The sandbars are sick during the summer.
Oh yeah.
It's like Lebanon, he has a cabin
Oh,
out
yeah.
there, and the sandbar is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
It's like 5 feet deep, 4 feet deep. That's where I had the turtle box floating in the water.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we were just playing Frisbee and Beersby, whatever, on the sandbar over the 4th or whatever holiday that was. And it was just incredible.
Right.
But you had to wear sandals.
Because the zebra
Because
mussels,
the zebra
zebra
mussels.
they'll
mussels.
just absolutely tear your feet
I
up.
bet they will.
Because what happened, they're kind of shaped like a horseshoe a little bit, and like the flat side of the horseshoe is like what connects to like any hard structure.
Yeah.
So like the rounded part is the part that's up, and when you
Yep.
step on it, you don't feel it right away.
It
but
slices you open
it's like,
deep.
yeah, it's bad.
They have it on Big Island out on Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Like you'll get onto the boat, and as soon as that air hits you, or if you'll get like sand into
Yeah,
it,
and then you
it's
feel
like
it.
it's like a half-inch thick.
Bad, like a super bad paper cut.
I've seen a lot of zebra mussels before. Like they have them on the Black River. Pretty bad, but
But you ain't
I've never
going
stepped
barefoot in
on
that
them.
place.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ain't going
not.
barefoot in the Black River, dude.
No chance, dude. I don't think you could go 10 feet in the Black River walking without stepping on
A hook.
definitely something that was not created by nature.
Tetanus.
I mean, a bottle, a can,
Yeah.
something. for sure.
A human.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I know that I read somewhere because I used to be a big fisherman way back in the day, and I always thought, like, if we, like, when I went out to my dad's place, you'd hammer the fish. And he's, like, in South Dakota. And when you'd fish around the metro, it was just like, what the fuck? But apparently the barometric pressure is higher. Like, it fluctuates more so in the metro.
Sure. I guess I've never looked at
And
that
I don't
before.
know. I mean, and that's one thing that we've talked about for ducks and geese, just because we've gotten our asses kicked so much in the last couple of years. It's been bad years here in Minnesota for hunting, but between like the lunar, selenier, so like the sun, like where it is, and then where the moon is, and then the barometric pressure, it affects ducks way more than we think it does.
100%.
And so obviously we know for fishing it does. I can't remember which way it is. If it's low, they're probably not going to do anything. If it's high, then they're in a feeding frenzy,
Correct.
you know.
Yep.
And I'm sure it's the same thing for ducks. And that's like the last thing I feel like I need to learn are those three things.
Yeah, I mean, we see it a ton in North Dakota, especially when you're out there hunting every day. You're able to see how things are kind of changing. Like that full moon in October can be the kiss of death for a duck hunter. I mean, you can have every duck in the world that you want, and they're nocturnal. They're feeding well into
Midnight.
dark. Yeah, midnight. I mean, there's days you'll sit out there, you get a few that kind of bounce around in the morning. You can tell that they're really not interested in feeding, and you'll go back out there and sit again in the afternoon, and there was 5,000 mallards in there the night before. And I always hate when we've got guys out there and they're like, feel like you just set them up in just the worst spot possible. And I always say, just give us 10, 15 minutes after we get done picking up. I promise they'll be here. And it's like clockwork, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Legal shooting time hits, and it's like, where did, like, the skies are just opening up and these ducks are coming from every direction. And it's like, it doesn't matter how good of a duck caller you are, how many decoys you have out. I mean, there's nothing that you could have done any different.
And but you're still going to try them in the field, though. Or you're going to go hit them on, are you going to try to go and hit them on water?
So the last 2 years, I've really gotten more. I mean, I'm a dry field duck hunter. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
That's what people come to North Dakota to do. When they come to North Dakota, they come to shoot dry field ducks. But the last couple years, I've started to throw big water spreads. Like when I was in college, we used to, literally put out 18 floaters. Like that was the extent of our water spread. We'll put out 80 to 100 now, and they're much, much more receptive, especially during that full moon period because they still do move, like during their typical moving times in the morning and the evening.
It's just water to water.
It's water to water. Yep. So if you want to kill them, you can kill them in the field, but you got to get lucky. You got to get them to come out a half hour earlier than they have been, which all it takes is you get a little bit of cloud cover, or I've actually just the right day. Yeah, you just got to get them to, but you don't. Every day
you don't know when the right day.
You don't know when the right day is,
as
we saw in Kansas, Cal.
For sure. Yeah, we thought we had that shit figured out.
So we looked at that field that we hunted.
Yeah,
we looked at it the night before.
Right.
We got there at 2:30, and stuff was just kind of legal. Was probably what 5.
5:45 was end of it. Yeah, 5:43.
Yeah, so the night that we were scouting it, it was like 2:30. They were just starting to bounce around. They had just started hitting the field at about, I would say, 3:30. They started feeding.
Yeah.
And I was like...
But we weren't on a moon cycle.
No. We were on a shit weather cycle, though.
Yeah.
Because it
bad
had
up
been
and down
like...
temps. It was -8 the day before.
Yeah, and it had stayed cold throughout the day, which that is the one... When it's cold and clear, they typically don't move in the morning. But when it stays cold and clear,
they're going to feed in the afternoon.
They're going to hit it hard in the afternoon because they have to. But that day, it was like a 40-degree temperature swing. It literally went from like 8 below to 40 above.
It was like 38 degrees, yeah.
Yeah.
That's no good.
No. It wasn't good.
Right.
It was not good.
There was 30,000, 40,000 ducks in that field the night before. I was like, we got them. One of them deals, and they got us.
They came out.
Yeah,
10 minutes
they
after
did.
shooting.
Yeah, they did come out. Yeah,
they did come out. They didn't want to play.
I've hunted in that same area before.
Yeah.
Back in 22, and same deal. 40,000, 50,000 mallard, widgeon, pintail feeds, and it takes a little bit of weather for them to come out right before sunset.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember too you being like every day, almost every day I was talking to him, and he's like, we're going to beat the shit out of him tomorrow. It's going to be insane.
I was there for 6 days.
Then the next day, like, call him the next day, and he's like, yeah, I mean, they just didn't come out until after shooting light. And I'm like, oh, shit. That went on for like 3 days. Then finally, it was like one of the last days you were there. You guys finally got him pretty good.
Bad. I think we shot 60 ducks.
Yeah. And that is...
At like 2:30 in the afternoon, which we did not think they were going to come out that early. Sure. And it was just like heavy. Yeah. And we all saw this one white-ass fucking duck. And all of us at the same time, storm widgeon. Holy shit. And these ducks are circling. I have the video on my phone. Circling. It's like, I swear to God, in this one flock, it was like 4,000. Just circle. And there's other ducks dumping in. They're like, we're waiting for that storm. And we hadn't shot shit in like 3 days. And I'm like,
no,
we're all just like kind of itchy, but at the same time, like, we need that fucking bird. And
for morale, team morale, we need that.
Then
bird.
right before we pull up to shoot, like, there's like, it was kind of far, but it was all these ducks landing. It was probably like 200 landing. And Tate, my buddy, is just like, Joey, kill that fucking storm. Kill him! And then everyone pulls up, and I'm just like,
got him?
Fucking killed that thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the taxidermist right now.
Yeah, I actually have one coming back from the same exact area.
From the area?
From the same exact area.
Really?
A stud storm. The guy that's doing them, he's one of my buddies. He does taxidermy in Bismarck, and I've got a nice sprig pintail, and then also that storm that he's putting them,
sick,
mounting
dude.
them together. They're a cool bird.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, storms are fucking...
And when you get them down there that time of year, they're as beautiful as you're gonna get them. I mean,
it's January, dude.
Yeah,
that one that we shot in Texas is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Just so white. Judy finally got his.
Yeah,
random.
Well, you know Matt Judy, right?
Yeah, yep.
Widgeon guy.
Widgeon wizard.
Widgeon wizard.
WW.
Yeah.
.widge.
He hadn't shot a storm.
Well, he was very particular on his storms.
He wanted the right one.
Sure.
He's like, this is probably the closest thing you'd ever get to.
The storm that I shot was actually walking around in the decoys. We landed it. The flock had split. You know, we got like 5 or 10 to drop in, and the rest of them were swinging around. And I let everybody sit up and shoot, and then that one jumped up, and I said, You're coming with
buddy.
me.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
I also called the shot on what I thought was a black duck that ended up just being a really dark colored hen mallard that day too.
Damn.
Yeah.
You thought it was, you said it was a black duck?
Yeah, I said that's a black duck, and it was just a really dark hen mallard.
Still told the client
you
it was
shot
a black
couple,
duck, right? Yeah.
You shot a couple, right?
Black ducks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, we were hunting in South Dakota, and it was like a 70. He told me, he's like, Joe, how many ducks do you think that is? I was like, and people always fuck with me on this because I'm that guy where it's like, there's 30,000 ducks there. They're like, dude, that's 13. I'm like, like you even know.
Whatever.
You know? Yeah. It's way too many. And
you are bad at that.
He's fucking with me, and he's just like, how many ducks do you think that is? I was like, I don't know, man, 50K. He's like, it's 75. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And on our last day hunting it, we hunted the same field 4 days in a row because we would get out of there before the main flight came.
Mm-hmm.
And it was insane. Like, the duck hunting was so crazy. We had like 14 spinners out, and they just come in so hard. And it's just like, oh my God. And after the fourth day, we're like, they're getting a little leery of it. And we're working this flock. It's like 100 plus. And it's like right at daybreak. And my buddy Brian is just like, dude, there's a fucking black duck. And I'm like, where? And I'm like, oh my God, that's a fucking black duck. It is just like so stark.
Yeah.
The difference is crazy.
Yep.
But no, it's like, I've had it sometimes where I'm like, is that a black duck? I don't know. But then I saw that one in South Dakota, and I'm like, that's a fucking black duck.
So I've been with for 4 that have been killed. I've killed 1 myself. The other 3 were shot by others. And you were able to tell a stark difference in the black duck compared to the rest. And I just was wrong. I was wrong on that one. It was definitely just a nice hen mallard.
Just kind of a little too excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted it to be a black duck really bad.
Yeah. Before we keep going, this podcast is also brought to you by Turtle Box. And if you didn't get in on our Instagram giveaway that we just did for one, we've got a bunch more to give away still. So we kind of thought it'd be a fun little, we'll just keep, giving away turtle boxes this off season. So keep watching, stay tuned. I wanted to ask you about licenses for guides.
Sure.
Because as far as I understand it, it all is dependent on what the state requires.
Yep.
Right? And is the license that you need, like from state to state, does it look a lot different in order to get that license?
So down in Kansas, where I guide down there, you don't need anything.
Right.
It's just you show up, you buy if you're going to hunt, you buy your hunting license, and you can just run it. North Dakota is a lot different. I wish more states would make it a little bit more difficult to get an outfitter's license. It just kind of, everybody knows that there's way more outfitters in the game right now than there used to be.
100%.
So that kind of realm of things is definitely changing. But so, for example, in North Dakota, to get your guide's license, for me, I'm a resident out there, so it's $100. You need 3 years of license purchase history in the state. You also need to go and the Game and Fish Department, they put on a guides exam or a guides test twice a year, usually once like in the spring, once in the fall. You have to go, you have to pass it. I think you have to get like 80% on it.
Is it hard?
Hard. I wouldn't say it's difficult.
What do you have to know for it? Like, what are the big things?
So there's not like an outfitter's license for big game, fishing, ducks, pheasants. It's all lumped together. So there's questions on everything. So like if you're just want to come to North Dakota and be a duck guide and you show up and be like, all right, I need to know, my mallard limit, my pintail limit. I need to know whatever, just duck regulations.
Yeah.
No, I'd say there's maybe, a handful of waterfowl related questions on it.
Yeah.
There's questions about like deer removal from private versus public property. I think it's like 60, 70 questions, something like that.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So you need to do that.
So you have to study for that.
Correct.
So like what are you actually studying? Then like reg books?
Yep, reg books. They have a study guide that they give you. If you call in and say that your intent is to take the guides test, they'll send you the study materials for it. You sit down, I think.
Can I get one, Joe?
They give you ample time I think they give you like 3 hours to do it or something. Nobody takes 3 hours to take the test, but so you need that. You need CPR certification, first aid certification, and then on top of that, you need an outfitter to sign off that you are in fact gonna work for them. So essentially a cover letter saying
this is North Dakota.
Yeah. So saying that you're gonna come and work for this outfit.
What if you're guiding for yourself?
So if you want to become, they have it broken down differently between a guide and an outfitter. So they have a guide's license and an outfitter's license. You are not eligible for your outfitter's license until you've worked
2 or 3 years for someone.
Yep. You have to work for 2 years underneath an already existing outfitter, and then you'd be eligible for your outfitter's license. So they make it. I don't know if difficult is the right way to put it, I guess, but
maybe not difficult, but like they definitely require you to put some thought.
Sure,
and effort into
which
it.
I think is
a good thing.
I think it's a good thing because I've worked down in Arkansas, spent 2 years down there. There's too many snow goose outfits to count down there. Like you get in that Stuttgart area, it's no secret. That's where everybody goes to snow goose hunt. There's the big Max snow goose competition. It is all out chaos. If you guys are active on any snow goose migration Facebook page or any of the Snapchat stuff that goes on, it is, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
In North Dakota, man, it's so relaxed. You just drive around. It's real nice gravel roads. It rarely rains. Everybody's so nice. Some landowners might tell you get fucked, but for the most part, it's going to be.
They're pretty chill.
Yeah, day in, day out. Not very many peaks and valleys. Pretty just.
Yeah, steady as she comes.
Steady as she comes. Arkansas, every day you don't know what you're getting into. I've pulled up to fields. There's 2 other outfitters that are setting up in the same field. You're the third one to show up, or you're set up and 2 other outfitters show up.
And they all have permission?
Dude, it's a lease war down there. It is a lease war. And the farmer, some of the landowners down there, or farmers, sometimes you talk to the farmer, they give you permission, and the landowner will give somebody else permission, and the landowner has a brother, he'll give somebody else permission. They're all taking their day lease rate, and then 3 people show up and are like, well, I paid to lease this field for the day.
Yeah.
And all the other 2 groups are like, well, so did I.
But it's not that nice.
No. Not that
Cal,
nice.
Cal.
I'm aware, dude.
Guns, fighting.
Guns, knives. Yeah, it's bad. And the roads, it's terrible. They don't, well, the first year that I guided down there, I spent like the full 40 days. And I mean, the washboards on the road that came to our lodge were 4 or 5 inches deep. They didn't hit it with a road grader. I don't think the county owns a road grader. And it rains 5 days out of the week. Our guides' quarters that we had down there was flooding.
Holy shit.
I woke up and there was standing water. And we've got 4 or 5 guys crammed into a bunk out. They've got the way they have it laid out, it's essentially a big shop with 3 divider walls. And then in each room, there's just bunks and a couch and a TV.
Yeah.
So everybody's got their shit piled up on the floors. And I wake up, it is monsoon raining.
And you're guiding snow goose hunts. And your shit is soaked. You go to move your duffel bag, there's water dripping out of it.
Sick.
We go out, we're hunting. The one day that really sticks out to me, we were running full body snow, probably 300-400 snow goose full bodies.
Yeah.
And some of our decoys are kind of in a low spot, there was a little dip in the field. Our full bodies were floating off of the stakes.
Oh my gosh.
And we had a guy that had terminal lung cancer that was hunting with us that day.
Yeah.
And we almost got struck by lightning.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And I think that was the only, I've ran plenty of duck and goose hunts in my life. I think that was the only hunt that I've ever pulled the pin on. I said, boys, we're done. I'm not.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Right.
What the fuck are we doing?
It is monster. And I looked at the radar. I'm like, all right, if it's going to pass, no, we are in the purple blob of death and it's just circling on us. I'm like, guys, no. We left the decoys.
I can't believe clients even what do clients say when you show up and there's 2 guides fighting about a field?
So usually we leave extremely early because it takes a lot of time. So another nice thing about really anywhere that's not Arkansas is you can drive your truck and trailer to most spots. If you're going to go set up in a wheat stubble field or a cornfield, you just drive your truck and your trailer right there. And where you drop the trailer door, that's where you set up and that's where you hunt. Arkansas, it's not that way. You can't drive anywhere. It's so wet and it's all laser leveled wheat fields for the most part or cotton fields, and they don't want you driving in there. So what you need is you have one guy pulling the enclosed trailer that has all your layout blinds or A-frames or whatever you're hunting out of and all your decoys. And then you have another guy that's pulling a utility trailer with a side-by-side or a four-wheeler with tracks. You get to the field, you unhook the four-wheeler from the trailer, hook the four-wheeler or the trailer up to the four-wheeler. And then our rule when I was guiding with Kelvin down there was 2 trips. 2 trips with equipment. The 3rd trip, your clients better be on the trailer going out, otherwise you're late. And so we would usually get there at, most days we were leaving at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning to be set up by a 6:30, 7 o'clock legal shooting time. So usually when we roll, it's, clients aren't there. It'd be us and some of the other outfitters or whatever.
Brutal.
It's chaos. Yep.
Yeah, you're not sleeping.
No. And it stays light out so long. It's light out till night. It's March, late February, March, so especially once you get into March, because then you're dealing with daylight savings time. So then the days are really long. It's not getting dark till 9 o'clock, and then you're up at 2. You're sometimes scouting an hour and a half away. And then say you find a field right at dark, which more often than not kind of seems like that's when it, that last 20 minutes you're flying 90 miles an hour down gravel trying to find something, and you do, and then you're knocking on 5 different landowners' doors or farmers' doors trying to get permit. It might be 11 o'clock before you get done
in a place where you can go to bed.
Right.
I'm so out on that.
Correct.
Yeah, awful. Just terrible.
But man, people love it. There's a couple guys that go down there for Dirty Bird they love it. I don't know if they'd ever give it up.
You got to be out of your mind.
You got to be a different kind of mad at them.
Yeah.
Really, really mad at them.
Yeah, you won't catch me in Arkansas
I'm
in
good.
February.
No.
You won't. You catch me there in January.
Yeah, killing ducks.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done the flooded timber thing, but it's so hard because I really, really like that late Kansas duck stretch too. So it's do I drive the extra 10
do it
hours?
1 year.
You do it 1 year for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why my buddy and I went out to Wyoming. We had never done it. never. And when people ask why we're going out there, like, oh, you got family or friends out there? Or you know somebody out there that knows where some geese are? No.
Did you get on them?
Yeah, we shot a limit every day.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. There was only 2 of us, but with
Was
it
it
being
5?
5 out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. Everybody was super, super nice. We actually ran into another outfitter out there, and we were coming into town. I mean, I don't know my head from my ass. Like,
You guys drove out there with a trailer or whatever?
No, we just threw layouts in the bed of the pickup, and I actually forgot the snow covers, and they got snow while we were out there, so that was a little bit interesting. But yeah, I just went out there, and when we were coming in,
What'd you do for decoys, though?
I had just 2 bags of skinnies, and then, actually the one day we set a nasty spread on the river. It was nasty. Yeah, that was skinny, shallow river honkers. Yeah.
Honkers in skinny water.
I mean, wow.
It's like a friggin' B-52, just
yeah.
slow as shit.
Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, so I brought 8 floaters, 10 dozen skinnies, and then like 70 sleeper shells. So that's just what we ran. Filled the pickup bed, just 2 of us, and we when we were pulling into town, we saw a few geese kind of cruising up and down the river. So we figured that it was cold and clear. So we figured they're doing the feeding once a day bullshit that they like to do. And we were driving, and there's this house that had 3 trucks and 3 enclosed trailers, all wrapped with goose decals and shit. I'm like, either those guys are really aggressive local goose hunters, or they're an outfitter.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just, I mean, they're decked. They're locked and loaded, ready to go. So I lock up the brakes, flip around, pull into this random guy's house that I've never met, never talked to, and I roll down my window, and there's a guy in the pickup next to me. And I'm like, you can tell me, get fucked. I just looking for some just very rough information. Like, what do these geese like to go? Like, do they have a preferred crop? Do they eat corn, wheat? What are they going into? And they were super nice guys, super helpful. And then we were talking to them. They said they run 4 spreads a day out there.
Wow.
4 groups of guys.
That's crazy.
I mean, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
We run 2 to 3 pretty much every day.
For Dirty Bird?
For Dirty Bird. We run like 2 to 3 pretty much every day. And then with Graham, it's about the same. 2 to 3. If we're really, really busy, they might get up to 4. I couldn't imagine running 4. That's just a lot of logistics.
What was the outfitter?
I don't even...
You don't
was it Mallard View?
What?
Was it Mallard View?
Nope, wasn't them. Nope. But yeah, they run 4 spreads a day, and they were super, super nice guys. Very helpful. They're all young guys. I mean, a couple of the kids that they had that were running around that must have been their lodge that we pulled into there. I mean, they were like 17, 18-year-old kids.
Oh, wow.
They were real, real young, but they were mad at them. They're fired up to get out there. And they actually, so they can't guide on anything that's like public out there.
Right.
So they like drop some pins or like go blow these spots
push
up
them
so
into our
push them to
shit.
the shit that we have leased. I'm like, perfect.
Yeah, that's
worked
fucking
out great.
awesome.
So yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, like, a lot of people don't want to go places because they're afraid to get there and then get fucked or whatever. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, like, no guarantees on anything. But I think a lot of the time, like, having, Joe on here and Nick Johnson and, like, talking to those guys too, like, most of the time, if you go somewhere and you just spend a little time in town and you're willing to kind of be forthright and just ask people information about, I'm trying to find some ducks or some geese or whatever, like, sometimes people will just tell you.
Yeah. Another thing that I noticed when I was out there was, I know Graham and I have talked about this at the lodge there in Kansas, where like, man, and same thing with North Dakota. Like, we're seeing, like, our late season duck numbers are just not what they used to be. And I would say it's been on like a steady decline for the last like 5 years. Just like they're
just holding up north.
I think they're going west.
Oh, really?
It was reckless. Ducks where we were
there.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I think they're just pushing west.
They're not going east. I don't think so anyways.
I don't think they're going east either.
I mean, because they'd be here. I mean, they'd be on the Mississippi here. They'd be all over in town, and they're just not.
Yeah.
I mean, some.
Definitely saw. I'll just say I saw more mallards on the river around here than I had seen in a long time.
Sure. Well, that's
in December. in
Yeah, in
December.
December.
well after 3 weeks after season.
Yeah,
But,
oh, yeah.
I mean, that's beating a dead
Can't even
horse there. You
scratch
don't
it.
need, yeah.
Not even a thought of hunting
Yeah.
them.
I really do feel for you guys over here. You guys just really get shafted on the whole 60-day season.
The time
thing.
is bad. Yeah.
It's really bad.
The timing is pretty bad.
I mean, we can shoot ducks in North Dakota from this year. Our season opens up like September 27th till like January 1st. There's splits in there.
yeah.
Like in the
You
river
guys
zone.
have 2 splits, right?
We have 2 splits in the river zone. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's epic.
Yeah, I mean,
mean-
you can hunt them on the Missouri until January.
January, like it's like the first of the year usually. It all depends how the calendar falls.
It's
But I mean,
insane.
that is nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys are just over here just
That's
twiddling
because
your
you're the
thumbs.
central.
November 23rd, just
Yeah,
done.
just shafted.
You're central, and we're Mississippi Flyway.
It's so stupid though. I mean, I get it because you can't have you guys in the Mississippi Flyway have a 100-day season and then the guys down in Arkansas. I mean, there would just be incredible amounts of bitching from them guys.
We've talked about it on our podcast quite a bit, so I won't talk about it too much. But people are complaining down south, like in Arkansas and everywhere, that we have heated corn ponds.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
and shit. And in reality, it's not that. It's the fact that our ducks get here mid-December.
Yep.
And they stay here until they absolutely cannot.
Yep.
And so if we were to take out a week or 2 on the front end and put it on the back end, it would push so many more ducks south.
For sure.
And so I think there should be a special exception for the northern state up here, whether it's Wisconsin or just Minnesota. I don't really care.
Because there's no denying there's clearly a huge difference in Arkansas and Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
100%.
given you're in the same Flyway, but nobody's going to argue we should really have the same season day or amount of season as you guys.
It would only benefit everybody south of us.
Correct.
Like, seriously.
Yeah.
They stay here. The reason they show up and then stay here, part of the reason they're not leaving is because
Pressure.
they get to do anything they want.
Right.
Nobody's hunting them.
No.
Nobody's pushing them out of here.
Yep.
So they show up and we're done.
Yep.
And then they just chill, like you were saying, until January. They're just chilling out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
We get a good push Halloween
Yep.
of mallards.
We see the same thing in North Dakota. You can pretty much count on
It's that full moon.
the last 5 days in October. You can count on getting. That's usually when we get a lot of our widgeon in North Dakota. It's kind of like that Halloween. We usually get a little like mini push like the harvest moon in October. So this year I think it falls. I always look after.
This year was later.
Yeah, this year it was like the 13th, 12th, or 13th.
No, it was the harvest moon in Minnesota this year was November 3rd.
Oh, is that when it was? It was
Yeah.
late. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I saw the full moon this year. I think it's like the 6th or something of October. Which is just, I mean, I hate that. That's one of our busier times of the year. We get lots of guys from down
Early
south.
October.
Right. I mean, it's hard. But we've definitely learned how to combat it a lot better the last couple of years. Because like my first couple of years, I mean, man, guides are about ready to strangle each other in the guide house. It's just everybody's stressed out. Nobody's shooting shit. I mean, I shouldn't say not shooting shit. We're killing 15 ducks a day. You pick at 3, 4 in the morning, go out shoot 9, 10 in the afternoon type of thing.
It's rough.
It's rough. Especially when you go from that. I mean, the first like 10 days of the season, I mean, it's barrel burning hunting. I mean, you go out there and they're all brown ducks,
Yeah,
but
they're
I mean,
brown.
yeah, you're shooting 7, 8 man limits in an hour and a half, and everybody's just giddy as all get out. And you go, I mean, and when the tap shuts off, it shuts off
hard.
Yeah, right.
It's not like, okay, it's a slow taper from shooting 40, 50 a day to we're still shooting like 20, 30, scratching them out. No.
Right.
It's right now. It quits.
Yeah.
And it's just, you got to figure out a way to.
You got to get over it, man.
You have
You
to.
just have to basically say, like, this is just what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Yep. And hopefully you get, a couple days, and it's about a week to 10 days that it's usually pretty tough like that, where you're really going to work your ass off to get them.
Yeah.
And hopefully you get 2 or 3 days out of them 10 that you essentially get lucky and you kill them good to get you to Halloween, or that stretch where you get that first cold snap and you get some widgeon to show up. Then it gets fun. Then there's about 10 days that it's really fun, because I mean, you guys know how widgeon are. I mean, they see a spinner and they are just suicidal. I mean, they really, really like the way a mojo looks.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
They're very into that.
They're
They
very
want to mate with it.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to get inside of the mojo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, what's this battery?
Yeah.
No, we were in Saskatchewan in October. It was like middle to, I think we left on the 22nd of October. And every farmer I talked to, they're like, we haven't gotten any ducks. And I'm like, dude, we are way up there. I'm like, what the fuck? And our
when
last
did
night,
you guys go?
we went
Like
from like,
third week of October. Like started
Okay.
the third week of October
Sure.
there up until like right before Halloween.
yeah,
Sure.
we left on the 22nd or the 23rd, like left at like 4 a.m. And so there was a subscriber up there that I gave a goose calling lesson to. And he's like, you should just come hunting with us. We're going to go hunt. And then his duck feed went to shit. And I was
Sure.
like, well, I have this snow goose feed. He's like, well, we already shot a bunch of snows this morning. I was like, why limit it out on ducks this morning?
Right.
And so what ended up coming were all ducks, dude. The sky was freaking black with ducks. I bet you I saw 100,000 ducks migrate over that field. It was insane.
They were migrating, like actively
They
migrating.
were
Yeah,
coming
leaving.
in. They were coming in. No.
Oh, they
Like,
were just showing
they were-
up.
they
New
were
ducks
just-
were just showing
Well, it was
up.
weird too because the ducks that we had, half of the ducks that we had when we first got there, left like 2 days before. Remember?
Right.
Because we were like driving back into North Dakota,
Mm-hmm.
and all the ducks that were there when we first got there that were fucking us around.
Were
you
in
know,
North
they were
Dakota.
in North Dakota. We were like
Well,
looking at them. We
Thanks
were like,
for sending
"You
them
gotta
down.
be fucking
Right.
Yeah.
And so I shot like 7 snows that night, and they just hammered the ducks. You know, and I'm not shooting. You know, I'm just like, this sucks. You know, and at the last day that we're there, I just see 100,000 ducks migrate in. I'm like, wow, this is the first push of ducks that they get. That was October 22nd.
Yeah. Yeah.
They usually get in on October 1st.
Yeah. So we go up to Saskatchewan as well, or when I say we, just me and whoever the hell wants to come with me, I guess. But we always go like September 1, right, for the opener. And I mean, it was the most ducks I've ever seen up there this year. It was nuts.
Yeah.
The only reason I go then is just it's the only free time that I even, and it's not really even free time. It's slower time for us. So I just go
Yeah.
up there for a few days and. Yeah, so they must have all either been stale or gone or spread out. But we also had a Delta waterfowl representative from southern Alberta come and hunt with us. When would that have been? Like the second week in December. And he said there must be some refuge up there that they have that holds birds. And they said there was like 250,000 mallards on there.
Chilling.
Just chilling.
Chilling.
Middle of December.
Big time.
In Alberta? Like,
insane.
what? When he said that, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think our biggest thing is the last 4 years. It has not gotten cold in Canada, like period.
Right.
And so there's no reason for them to leave. They haven't gotten
Right.
the foot of snow,
Mm-hmm.
and they haven't gotten freezing temps.
Yeah.
So they have open water and food source. Why would they ever leave?
We're even seeing like the Canada geese that we get. We typically get, a very, very large number of Canada geese, but they also used to migrate out. They don't there's still 40,000 up. There's legitimately,
Oh, they just stay.
they just stay. They roost on the ice. And I think a big part of it is the farming is changing. Like it's almost like I would say 90% no-till farming. And there was so much wind loss on the corn this year.
Yeah.
There's so much food for them. I think that's a big part of the reason they're not leaving. I mean, there is no reason that they should. It's been like 40 below a dozen times out there. Like there's
they
no
doing?
reason they should be there. I mean, I looked at them yesterday or 2 days ago.
And they're just shelled up on the ice?
Dude, they're roosting on top of the sandbars. They're not even on water. They're roosting on land. There's no, I mean,
There's no cover?
it's a sandbar. Have you ever looked at the Missouri River?
I know what a sandbar looks like, dude.
That's
You know?
what they're roosting on. They're just on the sandbar. I mean, when I say there's pockets of open water, I mean like a 5x5 circle. And they're just not leaving. They do not leave.
Why? Why would they do that?
I ask myself that every day.
Because the thing is, like, even if there is some food there for them, like, you would think if they just took the liberty of making a couple of simple flights, like, just a little further south,
Right.
they'd have so much more food.
And that is the only thing that I can, is that there is so much food left that they're just out there picking around and.
They think they'll just make it through, and they're probably,
Yeah. I mean,
probably right.
There's a lot of, big picture, not a large percentage of them, but a large percentage of the geese that come to where we hunt out there, I don't think make it further south than that. I think they literally winter there. I mean, you got to think we're not that far out from March. It's going to start warming up, and then I bet they just go back north.
That's insane.
Chill out. Some probably stay and nest, I would guess.
Yeah.
But I think a lot just go back north.
Yeah, it's insane.
It is.
I think that's one of the coolest parts about like banning projects is like understanding where they're going. I think the best way to actually understand it is to backpack them.
Yep.
But it takes way more time and money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To do that, because I don't know if you've seen how they do the backpack thing. They can either surgery them and they have to put the duck under, which
seems like a lot.
That's insane.
We're putting ducks under.
I mean,
You're putting an antenna in their body.
Yeah.
You know, you're crazy. And then they have the solar ones where they just have like a string or like a rubber band.
Yeah, it's like a little literally a backpack. Yeah.
Literally a backpack, and it's solar powered. Mm-hmm. But that takes a shitload of money for that little piece of technology, I'm sure, too. And then the people that have to monitor it, it's kind of crazy. But I mean, we've shot some wild bands where it's like we're 1,000 miles away, and these things should be way further south than they are.
Yeah.
Why aren't they further south?
Yeah.
And then you talk to the guy who's local in the area. I'm being very vague on purpose, but it's like when you talk to the guy who's local in the area, he's like, these geese do not leave. Like they'll get 60K, and then 15 to 20 will stay. I'm like, holy shit! And you are not that far south,
right?
It's like, ooh,
Yeah, it's nuts.
crazy.
Yeah.
You know, you shoot an 8-year-old band,
Yeah.
and it's 1,000 miles away, and he's been there for a while. You can tell he's so comfortable.
Oh yeah.
It's like, damn, dude.
He knows where he's going before he even wakes up. I mean, they're just on such a routine.
Right.
I mean,
hey, so real quick, this podcast is also sponsored by Migra Ammunitions. I don't know if you've ever shot it, but we've been shooting it for 5 years. Mm-hmm. And shit hits like an absolute
that stuff
truck.
is impressive.
It is impressive, dude. And like people ask us all the time, like what size shot do you use? And I've always been like a very big proponent of like 3-shot, 4-shot, but they have this 2-4 stack that is just
it's a hammer.
Deadly as shit, dude.
We're not associated with them at all out in North Dakota or anything, but I mean, we shoot whatever we get our hands on, and I mean, I find myself time and time again wanting to go back to. I mean, I always, if I have that available, that's what I'm going to be shooting, because it just, I mean, it's no doubters. I mean, you just crush them.
Right.
Yeah, 2-4, like for it being a steel load.
Yeah,
it's the perfect shot size combination.
It hits hard.
Well, and they came out with these bismuth loads this year or last year too, dude. We shoot 20 gauge.
Plus.
We shoot 20 gauge a lot, and it's like kind of sad how much we shoot at 20
gauge. We're weird though too, because we like to get in the water.
Yeah,
big water guys.
Yep.
You know, big wader guys, and that they have a 4-shot steel, 6-shot bismuth, dude. That shit fucking hammers them out of the 12 and the 20.
It's a stacked 4-6, 4 steel, 6 bismuth. Yeah, that would
is bad.
Yeah,
it's like really bad.
Yeah.
We shot
and this year they had that 5.9 tungsten.
Yeah, or no, that was an older one. The 5.9 was an older one that they discontinued. I'm pretty sure.
The 4.9,
5.9. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong.
No, yeah, the one they gave us this year was a 5.9.
It was a 5.9.
It was either a 4.9 or
so
5.9.
I shot
4.9,
some bismuth this year. Some of that shots.
Yeah, I haven't shot it yet.
I shot some 8s of it. It was good. Mm-hmm. It killed some geese, which I was surprised. I was like, 8 shots.
Bismuth's a different deal for sure.
Yeah, it's just
incredibly expensive.
Yeah, we shot a video with Nick Johnson over in Wisconsin, and this is when I first got the 12 gauge load of the 4.9 or 5.9, whatever it was. Dude, there are some absolute pillowcases happening on camera like 30 yards, and I'm like,
right.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, that's when you know you're hitting them hard. When you're pillowcasing them at 30, 40, you know, that's
like you can see the BBs entering that goose's head and neck, and it's just in slow motion because Carter is just always on 120 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just like, back that up again.
Lights out.
Oh my God. Yeah. There's just like a different feeling when you pull up, it's like, that's the load. Ooh, I love that shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I wanted to circle back. I think at the end of the day, we know that like obviously the way that birds migrate, like the cycle changes.
For sure.
You know, and there's obviously 100 different reasons for the change that's happening. And I don't know that it's easy to like put your finger on it though at this point, because the hard thing is like when the changes happened, when the changes have happened up until now, there's usually like some pretty clear signs pointing to the reason that some of that stuff changed. Whether it's like there's no more warm water source for these birds to roost throughout the winter, or, if like an area becomes super developed and so there's no more crop. But now it's like, what's the reason right now that we're seeing like some of these birds are like pushing east and west and migrating so much later? And because like the weird part about it too is you hear so much chatter from guys in the South, like people being pissed off with all these like hot cropping, like
Oh yeah.
all the Missouri farms and like all that stuff. And like I understand, but one of the things that's always shocking to me is like those guys don't ever really talk about the birds that haven't left Canada or like haven't left Minnesota. It's always like we're always talking about like hot cropping in Missouri, and there being these issues with that.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, I haven't been hunting long enough to know what like the 80s and the 90s looked like in terms of migration out of Canada. But I'd be interested to know like what that looked like, because now we're having so much trouble, even in the northern states where like you were talking about, where there's 250,000 mallards sitting in Alberta.
Right.
But people are pissed in Arkansas because of the people that haven't shot any fucking ducks in Missouri yet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So like,
It's like they're not even getting.
they've shot. I know.
Well, no, there's also like the most duck hunters per capita in Arkansas.
For sure.
And so that's like, you just get a lot more whiners,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's just something that's interesting. And like typically from what you hear from people that were like hunting heavy in the 80s and the 90s, like you didn't see a lot of these like hang-ups where there's still a million mallards sitting in Saskatchewan that just haven't left, and it's December 10th.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know. It almost has. It's getting to the
what did the
point
Delta Waterfowl guys say?
A lot of them said it's biological.
Well, because of the farm duck genetics.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just talked about that.
We just talked about that.
It's crazy.
That's fucking scary. And the further west you go, the less genetics there are with farm ducks.
Yep.
Because every time I've gone out to Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, anywhere on the West Coast, the Pacific Flyway, dude, those ducks are so much more fun to kill. Like,
Dude,
they're doing it.
They're just different. It's literally like they're biologically different.
It's trackable. We know that most of the ducks that they released were released on the East Coast, right? So like the Pennsylvania, the North, the New York mallard, like that's a totally different breed than like you're talking about. And the study they did, there was a study done a couple of years ago on all these birds sitting on Lake Michigan, right? And they found that of the 1,900 ducks or whatever it was that they took biological samples on, 60% of them were a crossbreed or were a farm duck like origin.
60%.
60%.
Yeah,
Really?
that's a problem.
60%.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I should probably double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
Sure.
Whoa.
That's
Yeah, it was
that's
more.
a
I know that
large-
it was more than
than-
50%.
Well, the thing is too, like I think ducks, they get a spotlight. Obviously, everybody loves to kill. I love to kill ducks too.
Yeah,
I really like to
you
kill
don't. You
honkers.
like
my
to kill
favorite.
honkers.
Ducks are my favorite.
I mean, if I never had to kill another duck, I would just shoot. If somebody said you can only kill honkers the rest of your life,
You'd be like, that's fine.
all right, fine with me.
Yeah,
But
psychopath.
this year in North Dakota, we received and held more white-fronted geese, speckle bellies, than I have ever seen in my life. I mean,
they're pushing
I'm
east.
talking massive, hundreds of thousands of speckle bellies, and we used to, we'd see.
They were a flyover.
Yeah, we'd. It was always like the full moon in October. You'd walk out at night, you'd hear them migrating over. Didn't even think. I mean, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool, whatever. Now they're stopping. Like in the last 5 years, they've started to stop. It used to be we'd maybe see like 300 to maybe a couple thousand at the most.
Yeah,
In a feed. We were hunting strictly spec feeds with a few snows and some ducks mixed in, upwards of 50, 75,000.
Whoa.
I mean, like it is.
that is insane.
So it's not like it's just, like, oh, there's a few more around.
Shit's changing.
And they stayed too. Normally the first sign of snow, you get 0 degrees and north wind, they bug out immediately.
Dude, it was like 5 years ago. There was a bunch of GPS data on specs, and they would hang out in Sask for forever. A lot of them would come from Alaska.
Yep.
And a lot of them would hang out in Sask for like a month.
Yep.
Month and a half. And then they would either fly straight over North Dakota or they would stop in like, oh fuck, where is it? They would stop in Bismarck, and they'd stop in like the Devil's Lake area,
Sure.
Jamestown,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd be there for like a day, 3 days, a week tops.
Yeah.
Like for sure a week tops. And then they'd fly all the way to Arkansas
Yeah.
every time, where it was just like, boom, here forever, boom, hit, boom. And they would just like almost straight shot to Arkansas every single time, or Louisiana.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're hunting feeds like that.
Nuts.
That's a ridiculous amount.
I'm
Dude,
sure
I
Graham's
mean-
told you too, but like we've been randomly seeing a lot more specks flying through western Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. And another thing that I'm noticing is we used to, like, if we'd find those feeds of 3, 4, 5,000 specks, that was pretty rare. We would try to hunt them. I mean, double
Smart.
middle finger, not
Smart,
giving
dude.
a shit about you. And I don't know if it's a different flight line or a different, just like a different like subspecies of speckle
Or there's
belly.
50,000 of them there, so they feel a lot more comfortable.
That might be part of it too. But I mean, like, we were shooting specks this year. I mean, eating shit. Like, I've never seen specks decoy like.
Outside
not
of
in
snow
North
season.
Dakota.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, yeah. Usually during snow goose season, you can't keep them out of the spread.
Yeah.
When you're in conservation season, the minute those e-collars go on, it's like, oh boy, here we go. But I mean, normally when we hunt speckle bellies in North Dakota, I mean, if you kill 10, you burned 5,000 to kill 10. I mean, we had a couple of rainouts. We shot like 15, 18 specks out of one buck. I mean,
Wow.
they're right there in your lap, which never. That's a new. That's a new thing. Which I'm not going to complain about it.
I would assume them having like, 25 times more of themselves there makes them feel like there's a lot more opportunity.
and-
like more spreads around. They're going to feel like it's birds.
And if you go from hunting 5,000 to 50,000, you're inherently going to get
a lot more
a lot
dumb
more dumb
birds.
ones.
Yeah.
A couple hundred dumb ones.
dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we were in Canada this year, and the first hunt that we had, I saw a bunch of Canadas in it. And I'm like, we came up here to shoot ducks, but like we haven't found shit,
Yeah.
you know? And so we're going to hunt this guy's land. And third flock of the day, big group of specks. And I'm like, oh shit. You know, you could hear them. And so I was like reaching into my bag to grab my speck call. And I'm not a speck caller, dude.
Yeah, me neither.
But it's you're double clucking
Mhm.
is a speck call. And I'm like, turn this group of specks and kill them within 30 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy fucking shit. That is my first time ever calling in a flock of specks. And I was like freaking out because as a kid, you'd see them sky high. You
never
you'd
even had a shot at them. Yeah.
Never have a shot at killing specks. And the only time I ever saw specks was during snow season when I was guiding. And it's just like, whatever.
Yeah, Joey like grabbed his call. He's like, I don't even know if it's worth it. I'm like, fucking blow at him. What are we going to do, dude? Who gives a shit? And he's like, all right. Started blowing at him, dude. So responsive.
180'd.
So responsive. I'm like, yeah, you're going to call at him today for sure.
World's best spec caller?
No, I'd say no, but definitely like you can serviceable. You
Sure.
can kill geese
I can
for sure.
cluck and yodel them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
just wait
do
for
love
them to
killing
respond.
them. I do love killing them. They're great eating.
We made
they
some.
taste so good.
Yeah.
What did you make with the specs again?
We had tacos, I think. didn't
was
we?
it the spec tacos?
Yeah, it was tacos.
Or was that the
It was
Mongolian?
tacos.
It wasn't Mongolian beef.
We had spec for both. It was the
Okay.
yeah, we had that. Yeah, too.
Yeah, no, it's incredible how much better they taste than in Canada.
Yeah, it's insane.
We had
It's
a chef
insane.
earlier this year that was whipping up some spec tacos for us, and they were just,
Spec tacos are insane.
they're spectacular. You
They
could
are,
say.
dude.
Oh my god.
That's insane. And that's where we cut it. Thank you, dude, for coming on.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. One more thing really quick, by the way, Joey.